I love collecting stickers, but I have a bit of a problem. I never actually end up sticking them to anything. It just feels so permanent. What if I don't want that sticker on that thing in the future? Or what if that sticker's true home is something I don't even own yet? And so I continue to collect and end up with these big boxes of beautiful yet unused stickers. And I know they make those sticker books with that special material that lets the stickers keep their stickiness, but honestly, my stickers in a book on my shelf doesn't feel much different than my stickers in a box on my shelf. I want to see all the beautiful art I've collected all the time. And what better way to do that than to put my entire collection on a table in the middle of my office that I use every day. And to kick it up a notch, I'm going to cover the whole thing in resin to give it some evenness, protection, and shine. But first things first, I need to find a table. Oh wow, that was way easier than I thought. It's almost as if this table has been sitting in my basement for months waiting for me to start this project, but that would be so silly. I didn't want to spend a ton of money on this project and, reduce, reuse, recycle, all that good stuff, so I got this on Facebook Marketplace for about $40 or $50. I'm still waiting on the Guinness Book of World Records to get back to me, but I'm pretty sure this is the heaviest, most awkward table on the planet. Same table. Same. As much as I want to start putting the stickers on right away, unfortunately, we have a few other things to do first. This was originally one of those tables that slid apart to fit a leaf in to make the table bigger, and I didn't want it slipping and sliding on me during the project, so I securely fastened the table together with wood glue and a couple of brackets. Another issue was that the legs for this thing were not easy to take off, so I decided to make the legs a lot easier to remove with the twist of a few wing nuts. I wanted to share this part of the process because it's not something I wanted to do. I moaned and complained about this, and the entire process ended up taking about an hour and 15 minutes. I know, how will I ever recover? I spent more time complaining than just doing the thing. If there's ever a part of a project that you really just don't want to do, ask yourself if you're going to regret not doing it later. In this case, the answer to that was a resounding yes, so I just sucked it up, did it, and it wasn't even that bad. I have what I think is a pretty good strategy for how I want to arrange the stickers. Each of these bags is a group of stickers I have from the same artist, and I really don't want those to get all bunched up together on the final table. You know when you get a burrito and you end up with one ingredient all shoved to one end? That's not a very good burrito. And on this channel, we strive to make the best burritos. This pile is one-offs that can just kind of go wherever. So one by one, I'm going to evenly distribute each of these bags across the table and just tape them in the vague area where I want them to be. After I've done that for each bag, I'll go and actually start sticking them on the table, filling any gaps with all the one-offs I have. Might as well start with my two favorite artists on YouTube. As soon as I committed to this project, I was most excited about displaying two names: Chris Piascik and 1000. Chris Piascik accidentally became an illustrator through a daily drawing project that I think ended up lasting like 14 years. Chris, you're insane and I love it. And he's been super influential in my own work in the past year. Pro tip, if you want to learn how awesome Adobe Fresco is and how to use it, he's the channel for you. And 1000 is someone I've been following for years. In the past year or two, he bought a warehouse to turn into his dream YouTube studio, and then invited 9 other artists from the United States and Europe to come in for a giant mural battle to decorate the place. That collaboration was called Artists in Wonderland, and they kicked it off with this incredible print. I'm gonna be honest, one of the things I was most excited about for this video was showing this thing off. This print was a collaboration between all 10 artists, and they made stickers for it. So all 10 of these characters are going on the table, and I could not be happier about that. And come on, of course I have to put my own art on the table. So we have Trippy Be Kind Skull, I Put the Fun in Executive Dysfunction, Experience the Cosmos, Eat Trash, Consent is Hot, Plant Parenthood, a whole series of True Love is a Full Party Dungeons & Dragons designs, and a lot more. After I placed all the stickers that I view as essential to the table, I realized that I don't think I have enough stickers to actually fill this thing. To fix this problem, I went back to Artists in Wonderland. Although not officially one of the 10 artists in the mural battle, there was an artist helping out behind the scenes, and making some pretty amazing art for everyone in the process. He goes by the name of Woke1, and he makes all of these amazing 3D characters that just pop off of a 2D page. And he does it so fast. I love all of the vibrance and character that he puts into his work, so I got a bunch of his stickers to add to the table as well. I also hit up my friend and fellow artist Nate Jones. He makes a lot of these awesome character pieces with their iconic quotes on their faces, but recently he's also made these original plant-inspired designs. Fantastic art aside, for this project, these stickers have a very important quality. They are big. Now that I actually have all the stickers I need, we can finish covering this table. Thanks, Nate! As far as sticking strategy goes, I really don't want a lot of my favorite stickers to overlap and cover up each other. So I bought a bunch of these bulk stickers to use as background and gap filler. This should also help give the table a little more of a consistent color palette and style amongst the chaos. Another issue I realized is that in order to get proper ventilation for the resin piece, I had to do this in my sunroom. In the summer, the sunroom is the hottest room in my house at any given time. If you've ever worked with resin at all, you know that if it's too hot, it does not set properly. But lucky for me, I have some awesome friends that let me borrow this AC and dehumidifier unit. So with those issues solved, it is finally time to start sticking. The sticking process started out really tedious, but once I got in my rhythm, it wasn't so bad. I am so glad I got those background stickers and didn't really have to worry about covering them up. It made this whole sticker puzzle a lot easier to put together. Alright, so we've been sticking for about an hour, and this is what we've got so far. I'm a little bit worried that this corner is going to cause some issues when we do some resin pouring, but I'm not that worried about it. This is going to take a while. Before pouring a bunch of expensive resin all over this coveted collection that took me forever to get, I took to the internet to make sure there weren't any huge pitfalls I wasn't thinking about. And wouldn't you know it, resin doesn't stick to vinyl. Can you guess what most of my stickers are made of? After digging a little deeper, I think that this acrylic clear coating should do the job. This should adhere to all of my stickers, and then the resin should adhere to this. But why leave that up to chance when you can do a little test piece? I took a bunch of extra vinyl stickers I had, put them on this canvas, sprayed the acrylic clear coat, and then coated that in resin. As you can see, it seems to do the trick. This is very solid, and the resin isn't coming off at all. With that potential disaster averted, let's do the big one. Okay, I have finished the process of putting stickers on the table. I was gonna film the whole thing, but then I got to a part in the process where I was just like, I need to be done with this right now. It turns out peeling stickers for hours on end isn't that fun. And filming makes it take that much longer. One of the two challenging parts of this process is done, so I think all I need to do now is make sure this room is as dust-free as possible, put on the spray paint clear coat, and trim off the edges. I have a few of these little flyaway stickers that are just kind of hanging off the edge, and that's not going to be good when I go to pour the resin. And since I needed to tape the underside anyway, what I'm going to do is take this little block, push it in, line it up, and then cut along the edge right like this to get a straight line. It should make it look a lot more polished, and it'll make finishing a lot easier. I've cleaned the room, I've laid down a plastic sheet, I trimmed the edges, I did the spray paint top coat. I also leveled the table, which I didn't mention earlier but is super important. I am not going to try to get multiple camera angles on this pour because the thought of knocking over a camera into resin terrifies me. So I'm going to mix up my calculated 40 ounces of resin and pour. With any resin pour, but especially one this big, never forget to wear a ventilator and gloves. This stuff is not good for you to breathe in and will really mess up your skin if you touch it before it's cured. I poured all the resin toward the middle and then spread it out to the edges as evenly as possible. The resin I got had a 12 to 24 hour cure time, and it was almost impossible not to check on it every 5 minutes. But as I would learn the next day, I really should have just left it alone. If you're enjoying the video so far, please just tap that like button. It costs you nothing and it really helps me with the algorithm. Thank you. I was going back and filling in the gaps in the resin, but apparently I waited a little too long and that first layer had already cured too much. And as you can see, that led to quite a bit of bumpiness on the table. It's just not a smooth finish. The edges came out really bumpy too, and I think that's just because I didn't use enough resin to go over the side, which would also explain the gaps in the resin I was trying to fill in. So I'm gonna have to go over the whole thing with this orbital sander and then put even more resin on it. I really don't want to use double the resin I thought I was going to, but sometimes that's just how it works with anything creative. You just gotta try it and do it the wrong way before you can learn how to do it the right way. So let's get to sanding. Not so fun fact, freshly poured resin does not stick to cured resin. In order to do a second pour, you have to go over the whole thing with sandpaper first to scuff it up. That lets the new resin fill in the cracks and grip into a nice mechanical bond so it doesn't all just fall off. It also helps if you don't mess it up like I did. Okay, so I have sanded the table, I have re-leveled the table, which was a pain in the ass, and I wiped it off with isopropyl alcohol to get rid of any potential floaty bits. So there's nothing left to do except mix about 60 ounces of resin and do the final pour. It's actually a nice cool day outside for the first time in forever here, so let's do it! Even if it feels bad to have to do a second pour, at least I got this sweet camera shot out of the deal. Ooh, look at that. That's nice. But unfortunately, this is the project that never ends. The second top coat went a lot better than the first, so much smoother, but I made a really dumb mistake. When I was pouring, I was trying to even out spots that didn't quite get enough resin, and I accidentally grabbed from the container with only part B instead of the fully mixed resin. If you've ever worked with resin before, you probably just cringed really hard because that's not gonna turn out great. I am not gonna pour the entire thing again. Instead, I'm just gonna go over those spots with a sander here, here, here. Don't even ask me about this one. This was an even stupider mistake. And especially here. Up to 600 grit? I think that should be fine. And then use some of this automotive polishing compound. I did a little research and apparently this stuff is great for polishing resin too. At this point, this table has been in this room for months and it's so close and I can see the finish line. This may make the surface just slightly uneven, but literally nobody's gonna notice with all the chaos going on this table. So that plan immediately didn't work. It didn't take me too long to realize that only going over specific areas was going to cause a lot of inconsistency in shine and texture. I haven't done a whole lot of sanding in my life, but I've done enough that I should know that every time you try to find a shortcut with sanding, it doesn't work. Also, I don't know what I was thinking with the 600 grit thing. That was not enough at all. So I ended up doing several slow passes over the table all the way up to 2000 grit. I probably did like 30 passes. It took forever. But at a certain point, I kinda got this feeling of zen as it started to get a little more clear with every pass. It was like watching the world's slowest loading bar, but it ended up being pretty satisfying. After the sanding, I started applying this automotive compound and a sense of panic set in. The table just was not getting the shine that it had before. But I was patient, and after a few passes, it was looking better, but not quite there. After a little bit more research, I got this mirror glaze finishing polish, and the first pass of that didn't seem to make much of a difference. But the passes after that, I could see the shine coming back. The panic turned into excitement because I knew this is exactly what I needed and that I was almost done. Here we are, finally at the end of this beautiful road. My ADHD and chaotic shifting priorities made this project take months longer than I meant it to. But we got it done. It's kind of fitting that this table took a big chunk of the year to complete because it really is representative of my artist journey this year. I found Chris Piask's channel and learned a ton from him. I got to experience the overwhelming joy that is Artists in Wonderland. And I met so many amazing local artists that I didn't even have time to mention, but I'll try and pop up all their Instagrams here. And with my own art on the table, I can relive my own wild progress as an artist this year. I'm not gonna lie, the year was a rough one, and I know it was for a lot of you too. But this table is truly an encapsulation of all of the wonderful, beautiful things that got me through those struggles. Those are the things I choose to remember. If you want to support that journey, the best way to do that is to go to my website and check out my stickers and prints. I make things for a whole lot of weird little niches, so I'm sure I have something you like. I highly encourage you to use this video as inspiration to spark your creativity and make some of your own art. And hey, I taught you how to make a sticker table. Go do that. Speaking of, without further ado, here is the final, complete, beautiful, shiny sticker table.